The morning sun, filtered through a veil of dust and smoke, fell feebly upon the intersection where Broadway crossed 7th Avenue. The thoroughfare was made of dirt, its potholed surface packed so hard from an infinitude of horses and wagons it seemed as impermeable as cement, except in the muddy areas surrounding the grooves of the cable car tracks and the hitching posts sunk in manure. The intersection was called Longacre. It was the center of the carriage trade, an outlying district of the rapidly growing city where horses were stabled and buggy makers toiled. On this particular chilly morning, Longacre and the avenues and streets leading from it were quiet, save for the occasional pedestrian or horse cart passing by, and nobody paid much attention to the young woman with short, dark hair, dressed in a purple gown of an unusual cut and fabric, who stepped out from an alleyway and looked around, squinting and wrinkling her nose. Constance Green paused, letting the initial flood of sensations sink in, careful not to betray any sign of the upswell of emotions that threatened to overwhelm her. The sights, noises, and odors unexpectedly brought back 1,000 memories of her childhood, memories so distant that she scarcely knew she still retained them. The smell of the city hit her first and most viscerally, a mixture of earth, sweat, horse dung, coal smoke, urine, leather, fried meat, and the ammoniac tang of lye. Next were sights she'd once taken for granted, but now looked strange. The telegraph poles, invariably listing, the gas lights on various corners, the numerous carriages parked upon or next to sidewalks, the ubiquitous shabbiness. Everything spoke of a city growing so fast it could scarcely keep up with itself. Most strangely, the white noise susurrus of modern Manhattan was missing. The growl of car traffic, the honking of taxis, the hum of compressors, turbines, HVAC systems, the underground rumble of subway trains. In its place was a relative quiet. Hoofbeats of horses, shouts, calls, and laughter, the occasional crack of a whip, and, from a nearby saloon, the tinny, off-key strains of an upright piano. She had grown so used to seeing the boulevards of Manhattan as vertical steel canyons, it was hard to process this scene, where the tallest buildings, as far as the eye could see, were no greater than 3 or 4 stories. After a few minutes, Constance took a deep breath. Then she turned south. She walked past a frowsy restaurant offering a choice of oxtail goulash, potted veal chop, or pig's feet with kraut for 5 cents. Outside stood a busy newsboy with an armful of papers, his clear, piping voice announcing the headlines of the day. She passed slowly, staring, as he held one out hopefully. She shook her head and walked on, but not before noting the date. Tuesday, November 27th, 1880. November 1880. Her sister Mary, 19 years old, was currently being worked half to death in the 5 Points House of Industry, and her brother, Joseph, 12, would be completing his sentence on Blackwell's Island. And a certain doctor had recently begun his ghastly, murderous experiments. She felt her heart quicken at the thought of them still alive. She might yet be in time. Reaching into the smock of her dress, she felt the reassuring heft of her antique stiletto, along with $850 in period money. She went on at a brisker pace, heading in the direction of Herald Square and a better part of town. A dozen blocks to the south, she found a couturier that, in addition to tailored dresses, also sold pret-a-porter outfits. An hour later, she emerged with a shop's assistant holding a hatbox and 2 large bags in tow. Instead of the purple gown, Constance was now wearing an elegant bustle dress of peacock blue silk and white ruffles, with a matching bonnet and heavy Eton jacket. As she walked briskly to the curb, the gazes she attracted were admiring rather than curious. Constance waited while the assistant flagged a hansom cab.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.